Welcome to the Hot Seat, David Judge, and here we are at Season 2, Episode 8 of the Hot Seat, where we release a new episode every second Tuesday and talk to industry influencers that have worked hands-on in the real estate industry to find out where they see current and future trends and what you can do about it to grow and support your business. Now, today we're talking to Renee Reynolds of Release Property Management, and we're hearing how Renee started as an agency with 0 properties and now has built to over 1,500 properties, along with the transition of doing all the work yourself to actually managing a team of people. Now, Renee also shares her transition as a professional ballroom dancer to real estate, the importance of systems and procedures in a real estate business, the challenge of hiring good staff so your business can sustain the relationship with the client, and how Renee's business has handled the demands of transitioning from a 9-to-5 business to a 24/7 business, like many people in the real estate industry have had to go through in the last few years. Now, I would say the number one standout from this interview is that Renee has actually started a business from 0 properties. She's done the hard yards, and she has learned the importance of putting your people first, combined with strong systems and procedures to grow and support your business. Now, Renee is an authority, as you can hear her first-hand experience come through in an interview, just how she's talking and how she explains exactly how she's done what she has done. Okay, anyway, that's it. Let's get into it and roll it. Welcome, this is David here from the Hot Seat, powered by Affordable Staff, and I also have
Damien.
And we have...
And Renee Reynolds.
Excellent, Renee. Thank you very much for coming on today and having a chat to us.
Thank you.
And we thought we'd have a bit of a conversation with you around where you see the industry being previously, where you see it at now, where you see it going in the future, and see what else comes out. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay, fantastic.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Because you've been in the industry now for...
Yeah, almost 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years
so
now.
you would have seen a change a lot in that
Yeah,
time.
we have, especially in our region, being in the Geelong region.
Yep.
Yes.
So about 12 years ago, I was in property management. I've always done property management, and I saw a niche for just a purely property management agency. And we were the first to open in Geelong.
When was that?
12 years ago,
12 years.
coming up November.
Yes.
And a lot of people said, I don't know if you should be doing that. You need your sales. Sales are the most important thing. And I thought, no, I want to be able to provide a really good service and just focus purely on property management. So opened with 0 properties, opened the doors, which was very nerve-wracking. And now, 12 years later, we've managed over 1,500 properties.
Fantastic.
And we've got a great growth rate, purely because we just specialise in property management.
How many team members do you have?
Good question. So we've got 2 offices, but I think in total we've got about 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think I noticed on your bio, because of course we checked your bio before.
Yes.
What was one of your bucket list items was to have offices all around Australia?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So we've only got the 2 at the moment, but the other bucket list item was an overwater bungalow, and I've recently just stayed in one. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you can cross that off.
Yes, I can cross that off.
You have to update the website now.
That's
Yes,
right,
that's
I will.
right.
So how did you get into property management?
Okay, so the story is I was a ballroom dancer.
Yes.
Professional ballroom dancer, and travelled around the world, and I wanted some stability. So I bought my first investment property, which was a unit in Melbourne, and managed it myself. Found a tenant, did the condition report and really liked it. And I thought, well, if I break a leg, there's my career gone. So I looked at getting into real estate, and property management was the avenue I went.
And you started in Geelong?
Yes, started in Geelong, and I was thrown into a property management role, which was quite scary, but I was able to keep my head afloat, and haven't looked back.
Yeah. You would have seen a lot change.
Yeah.
In that from day one to, well, I won't even say now, but to even 12 months ago, 18 months ago, so much has changed in the industry.
Rapid.
What do you think the biggest change has been? In the industry that you've seen?
Let's break it down. In the last 10 years and then in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So 10 years ago, what would you see as the biggest change?
I think for both 10 years and 2 years software, how we're evolving. We're becoming more automated.
Yes.
There's more in the cloud, so gone are the days where you have that big clunky server, and more people we're becoming paperless. Even the way your offices are set up, you're looking at more affordability, how you can be more efficient. So that's something that probably wasn't such a focus back 10 years ago.
Yes.
It was more about, for my business, it was more about just growing it. But then obviously, as our industry changes, as the whole world changes, you've got to be more efficient.
Yeah, because there are certainly, and we work with a number of clients who focus on like the outsourcing stuff. They focus on it not just to grow their business, but the efficiencies that come in place, because it sort of forces that change to occur.
That's right.
Especially around paper. So we had a client that used to send out send out all their contracts or their lease renewals.
All the lease renewals by on paper.
Yeah, which we don't. We're all DocuSign now, so and becoming paperless. But there's always that one client that means a lot to you that likes something in their hand.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we still provide that service, but yeah, I'd say 5% of our clientele are still paper. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you see as in the industry at the moment? What do you see as being one of the bigger challenges that people in the PM industry, people like yourself, are facing?
Yeah. I would say having the good staff
Yes.
that you can hold on to and that can build relationships with their clients. We find that in our region, to continue growing, we need to have a good relationship with our clients. We need to have a good referral basis. And so the biggest challenge is keeping the staff trained, keeping them having the right work-life balance, so that coming to work is a joy to them.
Yes.
And that they also can service our clients to our expectations, which is quite high. Yeah.
And we've always been aware that the average turnover of a PM staff member is around 9 months.
Can be.
How do you find you sit with them?
Yeah, look, not at release, which we're very lucky. I think because I've been in property management, I haven't come from a sales background.
Yes.
I know the stresses that property managers are under, and so I've definitely got my finger on the pulse there. So all the staff, we spend a lot of time with them. If anyone's drowning, we'll jump in. I'll even jump in and lease properties, show people through properties, just so I make sure that all the staff are in a good place. And we haven't had a lot of movement with staff. They'll either go to another industry altogether, or I think we've had one or two over the years that may have gone to another agency. So touch wood.
So your number one tip then for managing staff?
Look after them.
Yes.
Staff are the most important thing. And going from a small office to a larger office, not everyone can deal with myself. So you've got to make sure that the people that your clients are dealing with are providing the same service that you would.
So starting off small and building to what you are now, which is a large business. What advice have you got for business owners out there? There'd be different stages of that life cycle that you would have had to have dealt with. Probably some of them you didn't even know about at
growing
the time.
pains.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of growing pains, and there still are. There still are. I know when opening with Zero Properties, it was all about getting the name out there and really nurturing that client. And I would do everything from showing the tenant through to drawing up the leases to the property management side.
So you were the name.
I was from start to finish. And then as we started to grow, I needed to bring someone else in. So if my actions if my notes weren't in the system, well then that person taking over wouldn't know what's going on. And I just found that we just kept employing people because we were growing at a rapid rate. That systems and procedures is definitely something that you need to think about before you actually need them. And that's something that we're forever changing because we're still growing rapidly, which is great, but our office structure continually evolves as well. Was that the question you asked me?
It was. It was. And I suppose it's leading me, you're talking about things are always changing. So what are you seeing as the biggest disruptor? And disruption. Everyone's talking about disruption in real estate. We go to conferences, we hear it every day in our emails that are coming in. What are you seeing as the biggest disruptor in our industry now? Is
ratings on Google. You might have clients that think you're fantastic, but you might have one tenant that hasn't really liked you because you've called them. You haven't called them every day, but you've called them constantly because they're behind with rent. Now you're doing your job, which is what our landlords want us to do, but that tenant doesn't like you because you constantly call them. So they will put a bad rating up, and then in the world it looks like we're not doing a great job because we've got a bad rating, but really we have done our job properly and we've kept that tenant paying rent. So I would say the whole social media side of things and ratings is definitely made us look at things slightly different. And it might be how we do liaise with some of our clients because of that. That would be probably the biggest thing we've had to check ourselves.
So from a review perspective, then, what sort of advice do you think you could give? Because it's the whole, like Google reviews, for example, it really, and even Bing reviews, so under Bing My Business or Bing Business, it's a little out of control, isn't it? Because there's nothing stopping someone from putting it down. It's really hard to get rid of a bad review.
And so I think we need to be more proactive, and if we know that, well, all of our clients are happy, but if we know that they're really happy, well, would you be open to putting a review up?
Yes.
So we've really got to have that as a front focus, that make sure we're getting the reviews, because one person puts a bad one up, then it
make things difficult.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think certainly increasing the number of positive reviews you have will, when you see somebody leaving a review, you can tell if it's a personal attack as opposed to constructive criticism. And you can also react, obviously. If it's constructive criticism, then you can say, hey, thank you very much for letting us know. And it's the way you handle it as well.
I also find it very interesting when we get a bad review, we don't know who it's from, and then the next day I get a call from someone trying to sell me services to increase our reviews. And I think, that's interesting.
I know Google have moved towards a paid Google My Business or Google Maps model, where you can pay per click, the same way that you could with all their other advertising. And they've had a lot of issues because the person that was working for Google at the time managing it actually left and became the CEO of Yahoo. This is many years ago. So they had all the whole team, and everything sort of just dropped, and they haven't had a mechanism in place to manage it as effectively. But I think that's something they're going to look at managing more effectively, because it's for some people it's taken them out of business over the years because of thousands of negative reviews by fake people that want to. But I think if you view every single one as a legitimate review and how you can respond to it, certainly, because you will still have those people who do that as well. So
I know we're talking social media, but like the whole communication, like the expectations now have increased massively. Like we used to be 8:30 or 9 till 5.
Oh, definitely.
Monday to Friday type job. How have you especially as a growing team, how have you handled the fact that people probably want information now 24/7?
Yeah, I got a text message last night at 9:45, and I thought, that's got to be urgent if it's coming through at that time. And it was a tenant just saying, I sent an email. I didn't really understand it. Can you let me know? It was about rates that hadn't been paid, a commercial tenant. And I thought, if I reply to that opens the floodgates so that they know that they can contact me anytime. And I thought, well, if it was urgent, say urgent maintenance, yes, I'd be onto it. But I looked at it and I thought, look, I can get back to them 9 o'clock tomorrow. And I did. 9 o'clock, I was on the phone, and it was all, he was fine. But I just thought, usually you'd get an email late at night, and you might, if you don't check your emails, you see it the next morning. But text messages are now coming through. So I've always advised the staff that, look, we've all got mobile phones. We've all been on after hours maintenance. You just check it, and if you do get back to someone, then you're opening it up. So if it's urgent, yes, get back to them. If it's not, it can wait till work hours.
So moving on from that and looking at people that are within this, within the property management industry, and it's like outsourcing. There are a lot of property management businesses the same way there are a lot of outsourcing businesses. How can you see that somebody can differentiate themselves within the industry?
Look, our industry, and I don't think it's all the same across Victoria, Australia. What I find is that giving the service is what property management is, a customer service industry. You build a relationship with your property manager, and you've got complete confidence that they're going to look after, keep an eye on the property, make sure the tenant pays rent, eliminate any large vacancies or concerns. So it's just important that the property managers know how to build the relationships. They can adapt to different personalities, because there's different personalities in everything. They can't be black and white. We've just done some DISC training, and they all loved it, understanding different personalities. And if someone wants to know something, just give them the facts. If someone wants it fluff it up for them. So is that the question?
So differentiating yourself. So you spoke about, I guess, introducing that human component to it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And also, we need to keep evolving. Like, the industry keeps evolving, the world keeps evolving. So we're looking at ways that we can kind of stand out from the other property management agencies and the other agencies. So we're always looking at ways of doing things better, ways of doing things differently. We have a lot of overseas clients, so we're looking at videos to take them through their properties.
Okay. Yep.
We're Skyping them. We want to make sure that they know that their property's in good hands.
Yes,
It's just not an email and a couple of photos, it's a video now. And we've got to move with the times. So any innovation or technology we embrace.
Yes. Yeah, so what would be your number one thing that you would say then to somebody on how they could differentiate themselves, do you think?
Virtual tours throughout the properties, video, routine inspection videos, with tenant permission, of course, but just being able to, give the owner, if they're not in the area, a really good view of their property, so that they can keep an eye on it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So what special advice would you give to somebody entering into the industry right now if they were, let's say they were looking like you were?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, if they're starting at 0 properties.
Yeah. As in a business?
Business owner, yeah. If I was looking to start my own business, what advice?
Yeah, you've got to overservice people. You've got to be able to answer the phone at 9 o'clock. Like to get market share and to really build relationships, you've got to be on call. You've got to be able to turn the jobs around straight away. So if someone wants you to list a property, if you can get out there that day, get out there that day. If it means you're working until 9 o'clock at night, do it, because it's a short-term, short-term pain for long-term gain. And I've had the opportunity over the years of the staff that have worked with me, of giving them the opportunities to start their own property management agencies.
Yes.
And we've got one that's just started in December and one that took over in March last year. And they're at the office at 8 o'clock at night, but it's what they love, it's their passion. But that's what you need to do. If people think that they're going to succeed if they just go to work at 9 and have their hour lunch break and leave at 5, that's great if that's what you want to do. But if you're really wanting to, grow and have a business that's going to be a passive income for you, you've got to put the hard yards in. And that's with every industry.
Fantastic. Okay, well, we're at that stage of doing the hot seat questions, but what we're going to do is going to take a quick break and then we'll go through and do that. Put you under the hot seat light.
Okay.
And then we'll find out what you're doing in your business. Okay, so we'll talk shortly.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back to the hot seat, powered by Affordable Staff, and we have Renee here now. I've just gone and turned the lights up a little bit more so you can feel the heat, so we can go through and start the hot seat questions. And really, the key here is just for you to answer as short as possible, so we can jump through the questions. If you don't want to, or you can't think of an answer for any question, you can just say pass, and we can either come back to it or we can just skip it full stop, depending on the faces you pull at us.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, your current number one bucket list item.
Croatia.
The strangest thing you've ever eaten.
Pass.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Caring, determined, driven.
How do you spend the first 3 hours of your day?
Going through my hundreds of emails.
Favorite drink?
Champagne.
Something interesting that nobody knows about you?
I'm actually quite shy. I am.
Would you prefer to be invisible or be able to fly?
Fly.
A mistake in life that ended up being a success?
I guess me giving up ballroom dancing because I got into property management and haven't looked back.
How much money is enough? What's the question?
There isn't a figure.
What is your biggest non-negotiable?
Service needs to be spot on. If you do something, do it properly.
Morning or night?
Night.
Weapon of choice?
Pass.
A lot of people pass on that. Biggest fear?
Biggest fear, failing.
If you weren't doing what you were doing now, what would you be doing?
Pass.
University or School of Hard Knocks?
School.
What advice would you give to an 18-year-old Renee?
Work hard. If you work hard, have a vision, have a dream, and don't stop till you get there.
Fantastic. One item you couldn't live without?
Lip gloss.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Last question. How many keys do you have on your keyring?
2 at the moment.
2. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. You did okay.
You did very well.
I think
very
the weapon of choice. We asked an accountant recently, and they said we don't do weapons, but they're numbers.
Yeah. Weapon of choice, maybe
Yeah.
a knife.
Yeah, or
So I could do
Knife
things
is a
with
common
it.
theme for the people that do answer it, I've
Yeah.
got to say.
and especially within property management.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we're at that stage now where we basically want you, Renee, to tell us what you have going on in your business and what you'd like to share with everybody. So basically a shameless plug.
Okay, well, we are continually growing, Release Property Management, focusing on residential and commercial. At the moment, our commercial division's growing rapidly, like residential has. And I'm all about now giving staff and employees opportunities to grow their career. So creating positions so that they can become business owners themselves or general managers or move up throughout the rankings. So that's my focus.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
if anyone wants to get a hold of Release and you,
Yes.
how do they get in contact with you?
Oh, they can jump online to releasepm.com.au. My number's there, or give me a call.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you very much again for coming onto the hot seat today.
Thank
and
you.
did very well at the end towards some of those questions.
Yes.
I've asked Damien beforehand.
And I froze.
And you started crying.
Yeah, I
It
cried
was just
once.
getting
I did
embarrassing.
cry once.
Yeah, that's right. So fantastic.
Yeah,
thank you
thank
very
you.
much. And thank you everybody. Thank you, Damien. And we'll see you all again on the hot seat. Thank you for listening to the episode with Renee Reynolds. And I'd ask before you go, if you enjoyed this episode, that you subscribe to our podcast, which you can find if you search for The Hot Seat, wherever you listen to your podcasts, especially on Spotify and Apple. I also wanted to remind you that The Hot Seat is powered by affordable staff. And if I'm 100% honest, we could not put it together every single second Tuesday without outsourcing. There's a lot of background work that goes into creating a podcast, and this couldn't be done without outsourcing it to our overseas team. I record the content here and they send it offshore, where they handle the video and the audio edits, the website, the podcast distribution, the marketing, and so much more. So a very, very special thank you to our team in the Philippines. Okay, that's it. Thank you again for all your support, and we'll catch you on the next episode of The Hot Seat.